What's up guys? Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. So this video is more so for me than it is for like YouTube or for anyone, as if a lot of people watch my videos, but you know what I mean. So I want to be a little bit more mindful regarding plants for 2022. That's pretty much what this video is pertaining. I have always been into plants. Back in California, it was mostly cacti, succulents, anything outdoors. And I had a huge garden area mixed in with my dad's plants. And that's mainly what I grew out there. And then moving to Colorado a couple years ago is when I really started to get into indoor plants and more exotics and all that stuff. But I feel like I went a little crazy. I mean, this was before the lockdown, so I can't really use that as an excuse as to why I bought a bunch of plants whenever I felt justified, which was like anytime I wanted. And I don't want to do that anymore. So especially with the lockdowns, and I'm sure a lot of people could attest to this, houseplants in general skyrocketed. Like, it became a very popular trend almost to have a lot of plants in your home, which is great because it means a lot more people are interested in having a green thumb and being around nature and are interested in caring for something other than themselves, which is amazing. But that also means plant prices skyrocketed to like crazy amounts. They're still terrible, but they're somewhat getting better. And I also think that led to a lot of people hoarding plants. And because of that hoarding, when a lot of people went back to work, a lot of plants are being sold or just dying away because these people do not have time for them anymore. I've come up with a couple little tips to help keep me in line. I've already been kind of implementing these over the past few months, like mid to the end of the year of 21. Here are a couple ways to maybe be more mindful and why you should be more mindful if you even care. Okay, got my iced coffee, even though there's no more ice, and my list. So, of course, the number one way to help yourself be more mindful when it comes to purchasing plants, and the one that's easiest to say and hardest to actually do, is just to literally ask yourself, do I really need this plant? And of course, you're gonna be like, yeah, I do need this plant. I love it, and I need it, so I'm gonna buy it, and if I can afford it, then why not? Sure, yeah. But I found that following that logic in my head, I ended up purchasing a lot of spur of the moment plants, whether it was a good deal on the plant or it was just relatively cheap anyway because it's not a hard to come by plant, or it was just there, or I was just in a bummy mood and I thought it would make me feel better. Very similar to clothes. A lot of people have a problem with spending too much money on clothing. So people always say you should ask yourself, how many times am I really gonna wear this article of clothing? Like, can I wear it at least 4 times? Then you are more justified to buy it. Whatever your conditions are, that's not the point, but you should have some conditions that you try to follow. And of course, it gets easier as time goes on. I did a very poor job at following mine at first, you know, will and all that. So no more spur of the moment purchasing of plants for me. The only time I am planning to buy a plant this year is if it is a wish list plant, and my wish list plants are kind of expensive, so that's kind of why I don't want to spend money on a bunch of little miscellaneous plants I don't really love, because I want to save the big bucks for those plants. Like when Coastal Farms released their global greens, I was waiting for them to come in stores near me, knew I was gonna buy that plant if I ever came across it, and I did. So, and when you're thinking of buying a plant, you should really think, like, why do you want it? Is the plant just really hyped up and you feel like you need to have it because everyone's posting it and like all the plant influencers, oh, I hate that word, but are posting about this plant? So yeah, ask yourself. Like, I kind of fell into the Birkin hype a little bit, and I do love my Birkin, but I definitely don't love it as much as when I thought I needed to have it. And luckily it wasn't expensive. It was at my Lowe's, and if I found it today in stores, I would buy it. But I'm not ready to let it go either. So because of all my spur of the moment buying of plants last year, I have given away or sold or traded a majority of those plants. Or a couple of them died from neglect. But we'll just say given away or sold. So I don't want to do that anymore, you know? Unfollow some nurseries if you have to, especially if they are online nurseries, like through Instagram is what I mean. So I used to follow a lot of online wholesale nurseries as well as local nurseries. The local nurseries I still follow just because I want to be in support of them, you know, all that stuff. But the online ones, I kind of, to make it easier on myself, unfollowed some of them, except for the ones that I really loved. But unfollowed some to a majority of them because the less I see, the less I'm tempted to purchase. So now it's not that big of a problem. I think I could probably follow them all back and be fine. The more I talk about this, the more it sounds like I'm like addicted and going through withdrawals or something. But no, I mean, it's just so easy to be like, oh, I really wanted this plant. I love it. Buy, 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 buy. And then you're like, okay, I don't have space or the time to care for them all, or I could have saved that money or spent that money on something else. So yeah. Another tip is to stop popping in to your big box stores or local nurseries. Me, for example, I'd go to buy dog food and there's a Lowe's in the same parking lot as where I buy my dog food. So I'd be like, oh, I'm already here, I might as well pop in. And I wouldn't buy something every time, but especially in the beginning of last year, I would find myself buying plants more often just because I happened to pop in and I didn't really love them or even want them until I saw it, which it was like a spur of the moment buy. But yeah, quit making little excuses to just pop in here and there and say you're just gonna look when you're not. Or if you have to go to a Lowe's or a Home Depot or a nursery for supplies, don't even enter the area where the plants are. I mean, if you can help it. I used to be like, oh, I'll just take a look. I just want to see. And then I would see something and say to myself, oh my God, that's such a good deal. I do like this plant. And then buy it. I don't need it. I never wanted it. I just saw it and wanted it. So don't do it. Now I can take a leisurely stroll through and not be tempted really. I'm pretty good now. But it did take a good chunk of months to get to that. I'm not wanting to just buy. Another tip is if you pick up a plant and it's a great deal, it is a plant you've always wanted, ask yourself, do I really have the right spot for it? You should always purchase plants for the space you have in your home, not just purchase plants for wanting them. So can you give it adequate sunlight? Do you have grow lights that you're willing to supplement? Are you willing to buy grow lights if you don't have the adequate sunlight for it? So don't just buy it because you want it. Think of your home. Do you have the space for it? If you do, and then it's something you've always wanted, buy it, do it. But for the health of the plant, you don't want to buy a plant that you've always wanted, realize that you don't have the right sunlight or humidity levels or whatever it be, and then it dies in your hands, because that's just sad life for the plant and sad for your wallet because you just spent the money on it. Yeah, so those are some tips and reasons as to why I am trying to be more mindful and why I think more people should be more mindful. You can definitely have different reasons from me in regards to wanting to be more mindful with your plant purchasing. I know some people are way more concerned with the sustainability part of it and the effects it has on our economy, climate, all that stuff, because plant sales boomed and plant materials have gone up. Like, I'm sure maybe you've heard of all the issues with peat moss and why people shouldn't be using peat moss anymore. But yeah, whatever your reasons are, my main reasons why are just financial reasons, wanting to focus more on the garden and space. Yeah, so those are my tips, reasons why to be more mindful when it comes to plant buying, and I hope maybe it helps anyone. I know it'll help me, just gotta say it out loud, and it will hold me more accountable for sure. I'm still working on getting rid of plants, especially all the propagations that I already have done. I'm still working on getting rid of those duplicates because I don't need a million of them. So if you have any tips on what you do to be more mindful when it comes to purchasing plants, comment, let me know. It might help someone else out and it'll probably help me out. And if you're already planning on being more mindful for this year, then let me know why. Like, what are your reasons? Are they the same as mine? Are they different? I'm curious. And if you want, you can find me on Instagram and now TikTok. I was peer pressured to finally make a TikTok. I started it, I think, in the beginning, right in the beginning of this year, sometime in January. So yeah, I'm now a TikToker. Anyway, that's it. I hope you guys have a good day or night, wherever you live. And I hope you be more mindful with your plant purchases. Save yourself that money and that space and time and headache sometimes.